The BeefSpecs drafting tool was developed to help identify animals suited to different markets. It combines a range of live animal characteristics with estimated daily growth rate to predict those animals that will comply with likely carcass or live animal specifications. The drafting tool also allows users to refine management scenarios or to identify different markets in order to maximize the number of animals that comply with the designated specifications. Future developments will include the potential to quantify the economic impact of improved compliance and the inclusion of retail beef yield as a predicted carcass component. The BeefSpecs drafting tool could be used by feedlots, beef producers, and agricultural consultants to maximize compliance and marketing profit. The Production Inputs tab is used to load data and input information about performance, management, and carcass specifications. Click on this icon to load an example dataset or to download a template. The template can be used to input your own data in the correct format, which can then be saved and re-uploaded by choosing Select Data File. I am going to load the sample dataset. After loading the data, a spreadsheet containing individual animal records will be displayed. Click on the column headings in the table to sort the entire dataset by ID number, frame score, live weight, P8 fat, and the percentage of British, Euro, and Bos Indicus breed content in each animal if known. Otherwise, use an average. The arrows at the bottom of the table scroll through or proceed directly to either end of the dataset. Additional information is then required for the tool to predict animal performance and carcass specifications. Hold the cursor over the input boxes in the Performance, Management, and Carcass Specifications sections to access brief explanations of the required input needed for under Performance, estimated growth rate, number of days on feed at the estimated growth rate, the sex of the animal, and the estimated dressing percentage. Under management data, we have feed type, whether animals are predominantly grass or grain fed, and HGP status, whether the animals have been given a hormonal growth promotant. Then under carcass specifications, we have the minimum and maximum carcass weights and P8 fat. Additional information on performance and management inputs are available in the Tips and Tools section of the BeefSpecs calculator. Once all the data has been entered, click the Step 2 Draft button to go to the Performance screen. The estimated live weight, P8 fat, and hot standard carcass weight for each of the animals are reported in the Predicted Initial Performance table. Animals are drafted into groups based on their carcass weight and P8 fat, respective to the specifications required. Group numbers allocated to each carcass indicate whether they are predicted to be below, within, or above the specified maximum and minimum carcass weight and P8 fat. Group 5 is the only group that contains carcasses that comply with both the specified carcass weight and P8 fat. The compliance grid of the carcasses is also shown in the right-hand side of the Performance tab. The horizontal and vertical lines indicate specified P8 fat and hot standard carcass weight, respectively. Blue dots on the graph correspond with Group 5 in the table. In the example dataset, carcasses in Group 2, represented by orange dots, correspond with this part of the graph. For example, compliant for fat, but below minimum carcass weight. Each dot is surrounded by a white cloud that represents the potential error associated with that dot as a result of differences that may occur between the actual and predicted average growth rates and/or dressing percentage. Placing the cursor over any dot will report the carcass weight and P8 fat of that animal, and placing the cursor over the white cloud will report the average carcass weight and average P8 fat for that group of carcasses. Click on the View Report button to generate compliance summaries for both carcass weight and P8 fat. The minimum, average and maximum figures for carcass weight, P8 fat and live weight are also listed. Clicking on the Group Averages tab will display the carcass group data. Averages for live weight, P8 fat and carcass weight for each group are reported. The carcass weight, P8 fat and overall compliance rates for the base scenario are summarised in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Click on the arrows or type in new figures to adjust the daily gain, number of days on feed, feed type, HGP use or timing of HGP use within each group, and then select the Step 3 Rerun button. The compliance rates reported for any refined management scenario can then be compared with the base scenario. Continue to change management scenarios until a satisfactory compliance is achieved. In the example dataset, animals in Group 2 are compliant for P8 fat but below the specified carcass weight. To improve compliance, increase the numbers of days on feed to 140. After clicking the Step 3 Rerun button, we can see that compliance has improved from 75% in the base scenario to 100% in the refined management scenario. The Animal Groupings tab reports final predicted performance as a table and carcass compliance grid. In the table, the original group of animals is displayed, but live weight, P8 fat and carcass weight have been updated according to changes made. In the graph of P8 fat versus carcass weight, carcasses that were originally non-compliant are still shown as orange dots, but their specifications have been updated. Carcasses in Group 5 that were originally compliant cattle are still shown as blue dots. Click on the View Report button to view a summary sheet that lists the average performance for each of the groups of animals represented in the carcass compliance graph. You can also download the drafting list for individual carcass data in a spreadsheet.